Sadhguru, we'll begin the dialogue with you. Why are humans driven to explore space? And from your perspective, is there a deeper purpose beyond survival and curiosity that really compels us to go to space? Do we have to even explore space at all?
Say once you have come here as a human being, whoever you are, wherever you are in your life, you want to be something more than what you're right now. The only way you can do that for most people is by enhancing their experience. Whether you explore space or you go shopping, it's fundamentally same desire that you want to expand in some way. So the language of how this finds expression is different from person to person. If you know only money, you will think more money. If you know wealth, you'll think more wealth. If you know pleasure, you'll think more pleasure. If you know knowledge, you'll think more knowledge. If you're looking up at the sky, you will think more space. But the longing is, you want to be something more. You cannot stop this. So many very pacifist, philosophical and religious teachings, they have tried to stop it, saying you must be content with what God has given you. But they have not been able to stop one single human being from dreaming and desiring. Hello? Not one. They have not been successful even in the minutest percentage. When they put fear into you, or let's say today you have some ailment, then you say, God, I don't want anything more, this will do, just if I get healthy, that's all I want. But you want health. The moment you get healthy, ready for the next thing? Yes or no?
Then what else?
You're ready for the next thing, whatever the hell the next thing is. So you cannot suppress this because this is the nature of the human being. The evolutionary part of it, if you want to look at it that way, is this possibility became alive in the life on this planet. So all other creatures are happy with their boundaries. They create their boundaries, they live with their boundaries. Only if you infringe on their boundaries, they get brrr. Local dog, you know. You don't see that anymore because they've all become like this, you know. There are no more dogs left in America as far as I can see. At least you don't see them, they may be somewhere. Otherwise, if you see in India and all, street dogs are there. If somebody enters into their territory, they'll do. Okay? So that instinct, you see the dogs at least peeing all over the place, they're not because of a urinary problem, because they're fixing their boundary. Territory is very important for all creatures, they're designed like this. It's only after our cerebral cortex opened up, when we are in danger, we want territory, we want to build walls. When everything is fine, we want to expand. Every individual human being. This is not just about one Genghis Khan or Alexander the Great. They've found massive expression, but others are shopping, they're turning houses into warehouses. I'm sorry, on the side, okay, I can…
That's great, that's great.
So, because they want to be something more, they want to cover more space. But somebody looked up, this was not enough, we thought there, all right? It's the same longing. The longing is to expand. How much expansion will settle you for good? Can you tell me you're in the space business? How much expansion? Suppose we send Sunita to the next galaxy, will you be finished? No. So we want to expand limitlessly, but we are approaching it in a very constipated manner, little by little, all right? No, the longing is to become everything. We want to know all, we want to be everything in the universe, but it's finding very constipated expression. This is what we need to change. This is what we call as consciousness, where you moved out of the boundaries of your experience. Because ultimately that's all you're seeking. You want to see how it is to run on in the space, all right? I gave her a thumbs down because she won the marathon. That's not fair, there was no gravity. So, essentially, we want to expand. There is no limit how much we want to expand. Right now, we are thinking Moon, Mars like this. But suppose somebody comes up with the technology, you can go to Galaxy Z, you'll be gone there. Yes or no? So, the longing is for limitless expansion. Exploration is a very small expansion. So, we must start looking at it, looking at this in a different way, that we're exploring so many things. Even in this world, we're still exploring many things about our own nature, about things, about solutions for the problems we have. We're exploring. We must look at it that way. Just this childhood desire of wanting to go somewhere, so I am going, that's not the important thing. We're going there to see how it works, how can we make life better, this should be the thing. And when we talk about how can we make life better, if you just take one slice of life in human history, let's take 20th century. Well, we are all products of 20th century. Fortunately, we were in spaces and also at times when these things didn't happen. But if you look at 20th century, many scientific and technological developments happened, that's a different matter. But the most major events are World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, this one, that one. Why is this happening? Because we've made this planet into like a birthday cake and we're cutting it into pieces. This is my cake, this is my piece, that's your piece. I want to have a bite of her piece. Problem. I think because at one point at the developmental stage of this space explorations, United States and Russia work together, US and India have worked together, Europe has worked together. I think once we leave our atmosphere, at least here also we need to do this, but it's asking for too much, all right? But once we leave this, these differences, are you black or white, man or woman, American or some other nonsense, what you are must be left here, all our problems we must leave here. This exploration must come with some purity of how we approach human longing to know. That's what it should become, not an American longing to know, not a Russian longing to know. No, human longing to know. It must become a collaboration. It used to be like that to some extent, but unfortunately now it's becoming because we are seeing once again as a military possibility, unfortunately. I hope we drop that in future leadership and…
Thank you so much, Sadhguru. I think this was… nobody explained…
In zero gravity, if I shoot a bullet, will it kill somebody or it'll just bounce out?
I think it will just keep going.
It'll go through?
Oh, I think it will go through. I don't know. This is a question I have
Didn't
never…
you throw something at somebody in these 9 months?
And it hit them, yes. Maybe I wanted to do it more than that. No, I'm just joking.
Sadhguru, I think the explanation you gave for the longing, I haven't heard that anywhere, at least in the community of space scientists and explorers that we work. And now you know why I call you my cosmic dad. I want to bring you here into this conversation, Sunny. You had the unique opportunity of spending time in space not once, but 3 times. And the 3rd time was, we know how that went, like very unexpected, adapting to the extreme environments of space. You were supposed to be there like for 2 weeks. And I remember you and I having a chat before you went into quarantine that, hey, like, oh, only 2 weeks? I wish, like, you stayed up there for longer. And it was more like, we've trained for so long. And then it turned out to be a 9-month unexpected mission. So as someone who has had spent extensive time in space, what have you learned about human potential when faced with challenges and really pushed you to the limits of the body and mind? And part 2 of that is, can you sort of elaborate from your perspective, would you want to go back and explore space, like after everything that you have been through?
Well, first of all, I just want to say it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here in your presence, Sadhguru. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Kavya, thank you for bringing your parents together, I guess. After such a long absence. But, space exploration, this is amazing to sit and listen to you talk about it. It's funny because we've had this conversation in our office about how we want to leave low Earth orbit and go on and explore. And it just seems natural and right that we leave as humans. We have the ability to make those judgment calls as humans to explore, to look further in the universe. And so we're all humans. We have that ability to try and do that. We're not set by boundaries like you talked about, and so we want to explore those boundaries and push those boundaries. I think everybody does. And so I think I totally agree. Our time in space was a little bit longer than we had planned, but it was an opportunity to push those boundaries and look at ourselves and what we were doing and understand our role in that exploration of pushing boundaries. So I don't know, I feel like it's a challenge more than anything else, and some of that an opportunity, and you maybe have to look inside a little bit as something that seems as though it's an issue, a chore, a problem, and understand what is it actually teaching you. I think one of the other things about space exploration, to tap into it and any type of exploration, it leads you, once you get to one step, to asking a question about the next step and asking the next question, because you don't even know. I feel like we don't even know what to ask. I feel like we don't even know where we're actually going to go or what's on the other side of that rock that we're going to look at. So you want to get to that point of exploration so you can ask the next question. So I think that's very important. I think that's what drives most human beings, just that wonder, like, why do we get to the mountain? Why do we go to the top? I know Kavya is a huge mountain climber, and I know there's a desire, like, you're right there, should I go to the top? The top is right there, but because that's going to tell me what to do on the next side, so there's always that next question of what's out there, what's next. And I think that's sort of the definition in my mind of exploration. And having been in space for 1 week, and then it turns, you're like, oh, this is, again, another opportunity, another thing to learn while we're there and enjoying it. I think this is what we're all looking for. We're all looking for that next question, the next step, and the next question to try and answer. Thank you.
If I can say one thing, this desire that every human being is invested with, which is the very nature of our existence, we want to be something more. So, somebody is just right now thinking of buying a new dress, that's their way of being something more. Somebody wants to buy a car, somebody wants to buy the planet. But suppose we make you the queen of this planet, will you be fulfilled? No, you will look at the moon, all right? You should have called her the cosmic mom. So, if we give you the moon, will you settle? No, you want the solar system. If you give the solar system, will you settle? No. So, if you really look at it, if you go physically exploring the universe, you will be lost forever, not 9 months. 9 billion years you will be lost because it's that much, all right? Neither the men of science or women of science, nor people who claim to be men of God have no clue where it begins, where it ends. So when you explore something like that, you must find another way. If you go into it like this, you try to measure the depth of the ocean with a foot scale, you will obviously come back and say it's bottomless, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, if you are exploring this with a specific purpose, to know the nature of our solar system, how to make life better, how to make life little larger than the way it is right now for humanity and maybe even for other life, If humanity has to live in Mars, first thing is we must transport a few trillion microorganisms and make them thrive there, otherwise we cannot thrive there, all right? So all those things are fine. But just for the sake of seeing, if you go, it's an endless sightseeing. Even the ocean feels like that if you dive. It's an endless sightseeing, but the space is definitely endless sightseeing, isn't it?
And this actually is a great segue into what I was going to ask you.
I'm sorry, did I take away your question?
No. This is great. This is great because the famous planetary scientist Carl Sagan, you know Carl Sagan, he has talked about the pale blue dot referring to Earth, emphasizing how infinitesimally small we are and the fragility of Earth. And you, Sadhguru, have also mentioned about how small we are, minuscule part that we are in this vast…
Nobody here thinks they're small. They're very big in their family, in their office, wherever they are.
Yeah, small in this vast cosmos. And I want to share that in one of the recent programs you had conducted. Like, so for me, what you have mentioned and what Carl Sagan's quote have resonated with me a lot intellectually, and growing up listening to Carl Sagan as well. It was very much like part of me just throughout my journey. And then I hear you say that from an inner experience. And to actually, in one of your programs, to actually have experienced that, not intellectually, but if I may share, with every cell of my body on how infinitesimally small we are was really profound and transformative. And thank you for giving us an opportunity, you know, and with your work, for us to experience something like this. So my question to you is, as we continue to explore space, you also are a champion of, you know, we need to engineer ourselves internally, whether through inner engineering or rather like go inwards and journey inwards. How do you see having, you know, exploring and cultivating this inner awareness as essential for explorers like us who want to, you know, go explore space?
I can tell you two anecdotes that happened way back. When Adiyogi was speaking to his 7 disciples, who are today celebrated as Saptarishis, as the 7 sages, they're curious like you. They're asking, what is the nature of this creation? How is it made? Where does it begin? Where does it end? He's a bit bored with them. So he says, how big is this creation? If you look up in the sky, it looks limitless. How big is this? Where does it begin? Where does it end? He says, your entire cosmos, I can pack it into a mustard seed. Very good packing, isn't it?
We should learn that for our packaging of spacecrafts.
So he said, I can pack your entire cosmos into a mustard seed. Mustard seed is more a metaphor of the smallest possible thing. I can pack it into this much. Because he's talking about how time and space is a projection of your mind. If you rise little above that, it's all here. So for what is here, you shouldn't go too far. But the important thing is, this is why I said, the orientation of this space exploration should shift to utilitarian, because anyway it'll go there, all right? People will think, already people are thinking how to mine the moon, Mars, whatever. It is utilitarian. For that purpose you go as far as you want to go, it's fine. But sheer sightseeing if you want to go, you're going to be lost for 9 billion years or forever, all right? In our perception of life, 9 billion years is you're gone. Another thing he said, and they went on poking about, what is it made of? How is it made? By now he was thoroughly bored with those people. He simply said, I said, just 5 elements. Only with 5 ingredients the whole creation is made. The 5 elements of nature, which are earth, fire, water, space and air. So these 5 ingredients are there in everything. So it's just 5 things causing so much mischief. So do not go about… What he is trying to say is, he gave the methods. Don't go about trying to find out everything, because you have a finite amount of life. You don't have an infinite life, all right? Whether it's individual human being, as humanity as a whole, and the damn planet itself has a finite amount of life. We must understand this. It is not forever. It's just we are at its best time, trying to make it worst. That's another matter. We are at the best time, for humanity. In many ways, never before human beings had these capabilities, this much comfort, convenience, technology works. Above all, you don't have to go forage in the forest to find your food. It's organized. If you just put it on the phone, it'll come and land in your house, all right? So this was never possible, that survival was so well organized. Still, unfortunately, there are famines in the world and all that. That's something we have to tend to, but largely, at least for 80%, 70 to 80% of the population on the planet, survival is better organized than ever before. No question, isn't it? So when this is so, it is time to explore. Explore for the sake of knowing, you must turn inward. Explore for the sake of use, you must go out. This is my take.
That is so powerful. Like, this is exactly the convergence of inner and outer exploration. And turning to you on the same topic here, Sunny, we've had conversations on this, that when you saw Earth from space, you don't see any borders. And I remember like the last 10, I think exactly today, about 15 to 20 years ago, we had this conversation on how she had never seen borders in space. And astronauts and you often talk about what's called this overview effect, the effect that they have when they see Earth from space. I want to ask you, can you share your experience on that? And how has that changed your perspective on life, humanity, human consciousness?
Yeah, I was reflecting on the mustard seed.
You thought I'm very small, looking from
Yes,
there.
exactly. Mustard seed size, right? But I was just thinking about that, and I mean, looking at the planet from that perspective, it was what an honor it was to be able to do that. I wish a lot of people would have that perspective, to be able to at least take a lap, so I call it, around the planet and look at us from that perspective. Every person, of course, that I know, every planet, every plant, every animal, every mountain, every rock is here that I know. I mean, maybe there's something else out there, but everything that we know, you're looking at it when you're looking at our planet from that perspective, and you're not there, which is a little interesting. It's a big planet, of course. It doesn't look like a mustard seed. It looks a lot bigger than that, but everything is bundled up right there. That's it. And that's a very feeling that makes you feel very small. Like, wow, that's everything we know. You can look out into the universe. We have amazing windows, or you can go on a spacewalk and you can look out into the universe and you can see billions of stars, and there's a lot out there, but everything that we know is right here.
One tiny little mud ball.
One tiny little mud ball in that big, huge, vast universe. And it really puts things in perspective. And again, associated with that was what Kavya mentioned, is there are no obvious borders beside for landmarks on the planet. And it really makes you, and usually you go to the window and what's there? The ocean, 71%, I think, right? Not just 70%, but 71% of our planet is ocean. And so you usually see blue, and then you get a splot of some other beautiful color, black, brown or blue or gray. And that's where the people and the plants are, and the dog that you love is all right there. And it's just, and we're all together, and that's it. This is our one home. And I think that perspective is one that I wish we could share, everybody could have the opportunity to have. And so when we look at not just exploration and utility of going to space, but just the ability, put it that way, for other people to have that perspective would be amazing. I think my dad one time said to me, he said, you know, we were talking about people who are geniuses and stuff, and I was like, I get to go to space. That's all I get to do. There's nothing more than that, right? Yes, I had to do well at school, and I had to be physically fit, of course, blah, blah, blah. But that's not genius. The people who are genius who could see all those things without their two eyes. Like, I get to see that the planet is round. So, by the way, the planet is round. And I get to...
Confirmed now, it's confirmed.
Yeah.
Because there are still…
It's not flat.
No, there are still a lot of people teaching the planet is flat.
That's why I'm telling you. So as many people out there, just so you tell your friends, your family, your children, the planet is round. But I got to see that. That doesn't make me a genius. It just gave me that opportunity. So I wish everybody would have that opportunity. The people who figured that stuff out without having to see it with their own two eyes, those are geniuses. And when you can do an inner look, and you can figure out how to do that, which I would love to hear more about because I need some help. If we could do the inner look, that is incredible. That will open up amazing, endless opportunities, as well as when we get everybody a lap around the planet to think about ourselves and where we are in this universe in a different, unique way.
So that, how do we do it? Turning to you, Sadhguru, like, are there any practices or anything that, you know, what Sunny asked about turning inward, and even for the community out there that's designing spacecrafts, we want to go explore the space, and for all the space leaders making all these policies and everything, are there any inner practices or anything that we could actually implement so we could have that experience? Because obviously we can't launch everybody into space just yet to have that, you know, view of Earth, but could you please guide us on that?
I feel like we all can do this. How?
Can everyone do it? Absolutely. No question about that. But is everyone interested in doing it? No.
Everybody here.
Everyone here, yes.
They will say yes. If I tell them, okay, sit here for another 5 days, we'll see. I say, Sadhguru, tomorrow my uncle's daughter's birthday. I have a dentist appointment, I need to go. Okay? Do you have how to be poem? It's just on the internet, I mean, Instagram yesterday or day before. So, as I said, so you're mixing these two worlds. I said you turn inward for pure knowing. You turn outward for impact, for use, for utility, to help. They're two different things. Now you're saying, okay, can you teach us some practice that we can put to use in the NASA or whatever?
Well, can we have these…
No, you have
tools?
a job, I know, you can't help.
we want to have some… What kind of tools can we use that by increasing the inner awareness, we are better custodians as we go into space?
That's a different aspect. We can talk about that. Is that what you're asking, or about how to know?
The second, how do we practice, get these tools so we can actually make better decisions as we explore space? So the internal knowing can actually help us do the utilitarian part of exploring space in a much better, safer way.
That is unfortunately something we have not practiced on the planet. We are making useful things one against another, all right, all the time. We are trying to extend that into space because we are the same people. No matter where we go, we are the same people. First thing is, unfortunately, I'm 100% for science, but the present attitude for science, of science, not everybody, but largely it's become, everything that you see, you want to know how to use it. Whether you see a planet or a microscopic bacteria, people are extracting protein out of bacteria. Come on, and leave them alone.
I love it.
Invisible things also you want to extract something. So this can be very disastrous as our capacity increases. If we are very low capacity, whatever your attitude is okay, you know. If you're an ant, you climb over my foot and go, no problem. If you become an elephant, you can't step on my foot, hello? Now you have to walk with full awareness, you can't step on anything, because whatever you step on gets destroyed. Right now, we are becoming bigger than a dinosaur, human being. Our footprint is bigger than any goddamn dinosaur any time in history of this planet. We are so big. Each human being, what they're capable of with their technology available to them, if the footprint is too big, when it's like this, there has to be an inclusive experience of life within you. This thing about everything is divided. Gender, we are acting like two separate species. Nationality, we have to fight endlessly. Race, religion, caste, creed, you name it, goddamn it, universities fighting between each other, all right? Anything, football clubs fighting with each other. Fans, I'm saying, not the footballers. Just everything is how to divide. You must understand, as you get more and more empowered, you must become more and more inclusive. Otherwise, you're a disaster for yourself and for everybody. So as your capacity to go into the space gets enhanced, if you're still in the same mode that you're constantly seeing you versus somebody, see, the movies that came, because tomorrow I'm speaking to these people who are doing Monolith, you heard of that? The Space Odyssey, they're making another documentary on that movie. So I had not seen that. So they said, you must watch. 3 days ago I sat down and watched the movie. Well, it's phenomenal. In 1968 they saw the things that they saw. But lot of science fiction writers at that time were already talking about many things, and I think a few of the ideas which were fiction have actually come into science as a possibility because it was an idea, an exploratory idea. Nobody made Star Love, they made Star Wars, isn't it? Why do you think if aliens come, they will come with guns just like you? Where did you get this idea? In India, there are a whole lot of stories about aliens, you know. If you see Mahabharata, Ramayana, everywhere there are yakshas, Gandharvas, Ganas, all kinds of people. They never came with guns, nor did we go at them with anything. They were all welcomed, they had different capabilities. Some were dangerous, so we kept away. This is how the stories are describing. But why are we thinking, if they come, they'll come with guns at us? Because you have to sell the movie. But it's infected the whole generation of people. All the children are thinking, aliens will come, we must fight, we must do this. Arey, what makes you think they are intending to fight with you? My experience of alien life, they're never confrontational. Because whatever I have seen, their competence and their ability to move and everything is so absolutely fluid, they don't have to fight me. They can poof, go away, okay? So why do they have to fight me? There is no need for them to fight. We don't know what capacities they have, what type of life they are, how they are made, whether they have physical kind of thing or there's something else. You don't know. Why are you assuming they will come guns blazing? And what a damage we have done to generations of people, because every child thinks if alien comes, I must be ready with my gun to shoot them. How sad is that?